Hello, I'm Sean Bailey and I'm running to be your next Mayor of London. Today's topic I want to talk about is Heathrow expansion and my opposition to that. Remember, it'll mean an extra 700 flights a day, which is 285,000 additional flights a year, which is far, far too many. The extra noise will mean that 300,000 new Londoners will also be affected by high noise levels, and nobody wants that. And of course, there is the hundreds of thousands of children in the southeast of the country who will be affected. They already compete with noise levels that make it hard for them to learn. We don't want to add to that pressure. And of course, when we talk about air quality, nitrogen dioxide, Heathrow is the second hotspot for London, a real hotspot for that poor air quality, and we want to push that down, not push it up. And of course, our carbon neutral target will be blown out of the water if we continue to expand Heathrow. That's just two real big environmental reasons why we shouldn't do it, and of course the noise pollution as well. But we also have to remind ourselves that the current Mayor of London was the minister, Sadiq Khan was the minister who signed off, who greenlit Heathrow. So we want to make sure we raise our voices against his decision to deliver Heathrow in the southeast of the country. Heathrow expansion will be bad for our children, bad for our environment, bad for us. So no to Heathrow expansion.
I'm Sian Berry. I'm really pleased to support the No Third Runway coalition. Greens have been at the heart of campaigning against Heathrow expansion for decades. We've seen it off before together, and Greens are rock solid on this. I'd be the strongest mayor you could want to prevent it coming back. And we don't just oppose Heathrow expansion. We don't want a new runway anywhere, not at Heathrow or Gatwick. And we would work to shut down London City Airport too and use that land for what London really needs. The fact is, air travel needs to reduce. We need to live within carbon limits or we won't have a future at all. So my top three reasons not to expand Heathrow are the climate emergency, the need to cut down air pollution, including from traffic to the airport, and so that we can invest instead on transforming our economy and the jobs we need for a secure future.
A new runway at Heathrow would have disastrous consequences for our environment, for air pollution and for noise pollution. As Mayor, I've long opposed a third runway at Heathrow for precisely these reasons. I supported legal action against the expansion, and I'll continue to use my voice to lobby the Tory government to reverse their plans. A third runway at Heathrow would make air quality worse for those who live near the airport, would undermine efforts to combat the climate emergency, and risk turning the tide on all the progress we've made in London to tackle toxic air over the last 5 years. If I'm re-elected on the 6th of May, I'll continue to work with groups like the No Third Runway coalition in order to stand up for Londoners and our environment. Thank you.
I'm Louisa Porritt, the Liberal Democrat candidate for Mayor of London. I would say that I'm going to lie down in front of a bulldozer in order to oppose Heathrow expansion, but unlike some, I'm going to stick to my words and fight this all the way. The Liberal Democrats have long opposed expansion at Heathrow in Parliament, on the London Assembly, and through the councils that we run in South West London. There are three main reasons why I oppose expansion at Heathrow. The first is that the climate emergency really is an emergency, and this is the wrong direction for us to be going in if we're serious about protecting our environment. Secondly, the noise and air pollution impacts on residents in South West London are simply going to be unacceptable. It's bad enough already. We cannot make this worse. Thirdly, this is the wrong thing to be doing for our recovery. We need a locally led economic recovery, and the case for airport expansion anywhere right now has completely collapsed.